I bought this Akai that has been sitting for a few years because I had medical problems, and I wanted to make happy tunes. And it's an art to turn something very negative, a negative experience in life, to make it sound unique and positive. So this is actually one of the most positive things I produce in music-wise. I'm not a famous artist or DJ or producer. I make experimental music. I enjoy it for a long time. I like to play with synthesizers. People don't want to hear certain things after so long living in there, so they feel like they are a part of this community or the country. So we don't appreciate to be classified as something we're not, as we are trying to be a part of a different state or a nation or assimilate into this society, and like everybody said, hey, you don't belong here, what are you doing here? Like, so I said, let me make a product for them. They can look at it, they can watch it over and over again, try to understand where I'm from, what identity I have, what I am, so they can just come to a conclusion and they can say, oh, this guy is, I am Epsilon, I am Gamma, I am whatever. So I jump in there, I introduce myself, I give them a big smile, and I make them a compliment first. The first thing is the compliment. You tell them that I am not a threat, I am here to know you and be friends with you. Here's my smile, positive. I'm making a compliment to you, I'm on your side, I'm here to be your friend, not your enemy. As I notice in life, harder you try to achieve something good for the society, I'm sorry, but the harder the society fights back to stop this achievement. I picked up, I copied the things on a flash disk, I traveled countries, I popped it back on another computer, I started making drawings, I said I want to continue making this. So at this point, I put them in spheres, worlds, other worlds again, you know, outer worlds, different worlds, and I made bubbles of different worlds as art in different realms. I put concepts in there that are actually living in different outside the world. So there's the center world, if you see in the video, and outside there's the other worlds. So when people ask me where you're from, I sarcastically tell them extra-cosmo. So outside this world, you know, outer world. So it's a joke. I hope it will be a catchy phrase in some country or some city. So when people ask others, like, where are you from? I'm from Mexico. Oh, I have the border syndrome. So people will understand that it's so rude to ask people like questions without even knowing them. Just first look at the people, forget about their skin color, forget about their ethnic features, forget about their ethnic clothing. Just try to see them as a human who are biological creatures like a tardigrade. They try to reach out to other things to build things or achieve things in life. One person is going to school, the other person is like trying to get a certification, the other person is trying to find a partner, the other person is trying to fix a car, the other person is trying to make art, the other person is trying to make musical. So you have to see yourself as a tardigrade to reach and fight for things, not only for feeding yourself, but to touch humanity. Did I say terminus? What was it? Wait. Gosh, I forgot things. Like terminal, but it's not terminal. It's the Latin word of the last station, terminus. Yeah, I was right. The final destination. So everybody it says on the lyrics of the song. It's actually experimental. I don't know if you say. I would say poetry than lyrics. It says everybody wants to know where I'm from, but no one wants to know which way en route to where I go. Like, it's kind of fancy word of saying that no one wants to know where I'm going. Everyone wants to know where I came from. I want to tell them where I'm going. Like, I am going this way. Look, this is everything I have. I will focus my life on this. I'm not going to focus on political issues, primitive issues like what a person's skin color is, or what political affiliations they have, or what passport they have, how much money they make. That is so, not me. I don't want to talk about this stuff. I don't want to rise above all this stuff. I want to talk about the future, where I am going. I'm Gemini, I put Gemini in there. I sail on Argo Navis. It's the ship, this constellation that actually Slovenia has a history about, supposedly, mythologically, about Argonauts. And it has other constellations in there which I had to put in there, like Pegasus, of course. I sampled the voices and the guitar samples and the synthesizers, and then it turned out to be 8 lovely tracks. I installed some trial plugins, and then I exported the song, and then a few hours later the plugins expired. Now I cannot edit the songs anymore. The Greek version that explains about Antikythera mechanism, which I'm obsessed with. It's not in here, by the way. It overlaps with the Slovene poetry poem Popoti Belaluci. I sail with the white light, and I was able to say this now. I speak Slovene. Govorim slovensko, ni panike. I can make Slovene art in Slovene language. I'm a part of this country too, so that's what I'm trying to say. I am sailing in the path of the white light, so the combination of everything, maybe something dark colors, negative, maybe positive, everything is becoming white and positive, and I am going towards where the light goes. I'm going to other universes, other worlds that I've created, and I'm going to shine through it. I'm going to make this happen. I said navigo, I navigate, I sail on Argo Navis. Argo is the ship from Greek, Latin and Greek cultures were so much influx together that they shared mythology, religion, language together. So Argo was Greek, and Romans in the old times. This is Navis. Navis is ship, so it's actually Greek and Latin. But now it's called Argo Navis. I made a sentence in Latin. Now it became Latin and Greek. It's a transition of 2 languages, 2 cultures. I'm Hellenic, I'm Roman, live with it, you know, like this. I sail with the Antikythera mechanism on board, with the Antikythera mechanism, in parentheses, on board. That lead me. So it's the ancient analog computer that sailors supposedly used 2,000 years ago. That's the first known analog computer, analog like mechanical. Like, so I'm into mechanics and technology, so that's one of the most important technological advancement that is in the Museum of Athens that I'm obsessed with. It's the analog computer that bears directions. Actually, it has my name etched on it. Not complete name, but north direction is actually in the Antikythera mechanism, it's etched on it. So I had to put it in there somehow. So I'm sailing in the space, but I have an analog computer, not a digital one. It's because, I will explain why I prefer the analog computer, not the digital one. Because I believe that analog computers are very hard to be corrupted. Tardigrades are very lovely creatures that can actually survive in space. They are like the cockroaches of the space, you know, they are immune to gamma rays, the space vacuum, you know, negative vacuum, indestructible, immortal. They're the, you know, cute little creatures that can actually take a life form from world to another planet, so they can actually survive and actually plant a seed in another world, like in this sphere. So maybe it doesn't work, maybe it will work, but I think it will work in some different dimension, in a different world, extracosmic different world. It will work. The spotlight is an actual Aries spotlight. It's a very fancy spotlight that I had to model 20 years ago. I actually made some money out of that, surprisingly, and it was for a television production series. It was an independent songwriter series in Arkansas with Mark David, whom I love very much. He was my mentor, and I did this spotlight as a bonus gift for him on one of the projects to represent his television show, because it was called Spotlight On. And I'm very proud of this project because I actually work with very famous and new coming songwriters that I work with. I did graphics for them. I participated in their art and songs, and actually, like a sponge, I I sucked in some of their spirits, some of their experiences, some of the adventures they had, some of the little negative things, some of the jokes they had. I actually, by watching them and working on their elements, I actually learned a lot of things from these multicultural people, because they're from different races, different cultures. They believe in different things. So that spotlight represents the projection of light on an artist per se, the bouncing of the light physically, the photons, because the spotlight projects a beam of light, it goes to an object, an artist, or a talent, or a material, and it reflects a different color depending on what color you're wearing. But the frequency of the photon, I'm not a scientist, but it changes the frequency, so I am changing the frequency of the white light to a different color, and it goes to a sensor, a CMOS, or whatever sensor ASPC sensor you have, I think. It goes through the sensor in a digital form. It is digitized, it retains some information, and you watch it and you look at it through a filter, technically, in a different way, from analog to photons to binary to, again, digital analog conversion to analog again, and now you see in an altered state of the art. So this is the alteration of the state of art in analog, which has the artifacts of a gramophone in there, little like filters in there. Like I try to make it sound like it's nostalgic. I'm a nostalgic person. I wish I lived in the 80s and 90s. Pegasus was the child of Poseidon, you know, the god of the oceans and the sea. And guess who? Medusa.
Okay.
Medusa. So Medusa is actually a gorgon, okay, a creature that has snakes on her head, supposedly. And this is the interesting part. According to the mythology, Perseus, which is actually in the star of the constellations, okay, Perseus slayed Medusa with a shield from Athena, which was a mirror. I use mirrors in the art. It's surprisingly just fit in there perfectly. And he used a mirror shield so he wouldn't see Medusa's eyes, so he wouldn't turn into a rock. And he slayed Medusa, not in a bad way. I'm not into slaying creatures or killing people or anything, but you know, it's a mythological thing. And in return, he gifted Athena the head of Medusa, which is the symbol of copper, actually, surprisingly. So actually, my identification is I'm from copper right now at this moment, human copper. I live in copper, and the seal is the Medusa's head. This is the story behind it, that you can tie it to Perseus, to my art, and Pegasus, and Medusa, and Athena, Athens, you know, it just goes around in circles, everything. So when you look at the stars, you connect the dots. Everything, each of us, every tardigrade, we connect to each other, and we make a constellation in the sky. Okay, so back to the thing again. So also there is Orion, if you look in there carefully, the constellations. Zeus supposedly put him up there as a punishment because he did not behave. He was a bad guy. He wasn't behaving in some parts of Chios, supposedly. Maybe not for that particularly, but he wasn't behaving. Zeus supposedly punished him and put him in the sky. So you actually see Orion in there, which everybody knows. Orion's belt and Orion, you know, the guy in there, you know, in the constellations. So I actually put him in there because since I was a child, I like Orion. He seems like he's shooting an arrow. Mm-hmm. So I see him as he's aiming for something, and that's, I had it in my mind, I'm aiming for something. Yeah, the blue head is a digitized version of my own head from some photographs. I made a sculpture of my own head. I got bored. So I had this element sitting there for tens of years, maybe 10 years. So I just said, why don't I just drop it in there? It's an art dump. You know, I wanted actually a single one person to ask me about what was inside that bubble, and congratulations, Romana, you did. You asked me what was inside the fortune cookie, and I actually planted that for you. No, seriously, and this was like a social experiment. Who's gonna want to know what's inside that black canister? Is it gonna be something bad and dark, or is it gonna be something bright that splits molecules to create some sort of energy or some kind of holy? It's like some kind of holy grail of, you know, alternative energy. So,
last question, only with this camera.
yeah.
Tell me this,
Yeah.
What does art mean to you?
Art is a tardigrade.
Your tardigrade.
Art for me is a tardigrade, and art is something you enjoy doing. You know, it's a little creature like a tardigrade that enjoys consuming things, digesting them, and multiplying itself, and enduring harsh environments, and living forever, rising from the ashes, from one generation to another, multiplying and existing and spreading life forms to another universe in different wavelengths, in different worlds, climates, in different areas, you know, in different cultures. That's what art is. It's a language. It's a language. It's a seed. It's a technology. Yes. So it's a communication method. But I did not know what the heck I was doing. So sometimes I go to do things, crazy things, you know. Well, not everything makes sense. Actually, like you said, it was true. I did something ingenious without even knowing, because everything, when you look at it, everything actually goes in place. And I did not mean to put them in place, to be honest with you. I didn't mean to put them in place. Tossed them in there. I said, this and this. I'm going crazy. I'm not sleeping. I'm drinking too much tea, and I'm like doing crazy things. And like, actually, that's what art is. You have to be a little crazy. You have to be on the edge of a different cosmos.